I did a terrible thing that day. I shot and killed people because they were black.
It was here that he would make a critical mistake that would instantly ruin any hope that he might have had of looking cool in his attack. When Peyton brought out his phone, he had forgotten to close his last open tab. This revealed what he had been looking at before the attack: some furry erotica.
This whole thing from beginning to end was him wanting to look cool, and when it finally came time to do his attack on live stream, bro leaks his furry porn. Wait, you guys keep referencing Martha Speaks. Who is that? It's a children's TV show. He was gooning to this? Oh my god, it's the dog from the thumbnail.
Martha was an average dog.
How now, brown cow?
Oh no. So the dog's name is Martha.
This dog was Martha, the Labrador from the Martha Speaks children's show on PBS. Although portrayed as a normal-looking dog in the cartoon, let's just say that this one was much more endowed.
Ew, this is what he was looking at. What's happening to Martha here? Hello, YouTube. We got a doozy of a video today. Oh my god, just from the thumbnails, just look at this, man. So we have a couple of good ones here. I'm probably gonna save these two for a future video, but this one right here just intrigued me with this furry ass thumbnail. Like, what is up with this dog moaning next to this dude? The title of today's video from Dire Trip is The Delusional Mass Shooter Who Became a Joke. But yeah, it just intrigued me. I'm all for super interesting cases like this. Before we get into today's video, as you can see, I am streaming on Twitch right now. There's chat over there on the other side of the screen. Yeah, if you want to join us for moments like this, follow me on Twitch. And also make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. We are less than 2,000 subscribers away. Wait, how far are we from 500K? Oh yes, we are less than 2,000 subscribers away from 500,000, from 500,000. So yeah, sub up. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna shut up now. Let's watch this video. Let's watch this mass shooter who became a joke. But let's be real, guys. All mass shooters, all school shooters are all automatically jokes. Every time they do one of these things, they think they're gonna be immortalized as some kind of cool thing to be talked about in history books. No, all of you, and I'm talking to all of you school shooters in the afterlife, all of you are jokes. Fuck you.
When a depressed, paranoid young man was isolating during the lockdown era, he became obsessed with 4chan and Reddit, going down a rabbit hole of radicalized.
The deadly duo, bro. He got obsessed with Reddit and fucking 4chan. Downhill from there. And look at that. Look at these guns, bro.
He became obsessed with 4chan and Reddit, going down a rabbit hole of radicalization. Strangely enough, despite not being pushed to do such a thing, he felt he was going down that path against his will because it was his destiny.
Holy cringe, dude. No, yeah, this whole video already has the recipe of cringe down. Obsessed with Reddit and 4chan, and he thought it was his destiny. He thought there was no getting out of it. In other words, he's gonna try and shift accountability from himself.
It's pretty common for mass shooters to have some sort of idol that they look up to. Even when you go back as far as Columbine, those two shooters were also inspired by the Oklahoma City bombing, among other things. What's much more unusual is when one of these killers feels obligated to carry out an attack despite not actually wanting to, even going as far as expressing exactly how much they don't want to go through with it for the months leading up to it.
Right.
Peyton Gendron was born on June 20th, 2003. He lived in Southern Tier, New York for his entire life with his parents and his two brothers. Both of his parents were civil engineers, with Peyton wanting nothing more than to go down that path himself.
So they were rich. Both of his parents were civil engineers? Holy shit. Wait a minute. Wait, that raises another point. A lot of very privileged kids that grow up in pretty wealthy households, never really having to struggle. They make a lot of money. They have nothing else going on in life. Things are kind of stale. They have everything. They, for some reason, demonstrate a high likelihood of becoming messed up in the head. I don't know if it's because they're bored of their privileged lifestyle. They just want to rebel. They just want to stir the pot. They just want to rock the boat. Yeah, I don't know what this phenomenon is.
He had a fairly normal upbringing, coming to attend school and make friends. In 3rd grade, he met his lifelong best friend named Matt. He would hang out at his cousins' houses where they would go target shooting together. He went hunting with his uncles a few times as well. He said that this was nice, as in his words, his direct family didn't have any interests. When he was very young, he was swimming in a pond near his cousin's house. After getting into the deeper water, he realized that he couldn't swim as well as he thought he could. Sinking down to the bottom of the pond, he was rescued by his uncle who jumped in and saved him. Peyton was thrown onto the grass where he vomited up a good amount of pond water that he had swallowed. Little did his uncle know what kind of future this kid would hold. While Peyton was still quite young, around 12 or 13 years old, he started to have negative interactions with some black kids at his school. At one
I'm a little worried. He specified black kids right there. Uh-oh.
He started to have negative interactions with some black kids at his school. At one point, according to Peyton, a girl who was mad at him told the teachers that he had called her the N-word in order to get him into trouble. He was given in-school suspension for the rest of the day. He never forgot about that incident, even much later in life. At around this time, he was in some extracurricular activities. He was in the Boy Scouts and even joined the school swim and soccer teams. There was a lot more going on behind the scenes in his mind, though. Even as a kid, Peyton was interested in different political ideologies. He would later write, "When I was 12, I was deep into communist ideology. Talk to anyone from my old high school and ask about me and you will hear that. From age 15 to 18, however, I consistently moved farther to the right. On the political compass, I fall in the mild, moderate authority."
There you go. There you go. Hey, somebody just said free David in chat. That's a ban. Easy ban. Free David? Hell no. That's like so try hard rage bait. Oh my god. Yeah, anyway. What was I gonna say? Oh, see what I said, guys? Horseshoe theory is real. Horseshoe theory is real. You had this guy that was a far left extremist, aka a communist, aka a tanky, and then what a surprise, he ended up going to the far right. Authoritarianism. Horseshoe theory is real. What's horseshoe theory? It's the theory that like if you go too far one way on the political spectrum, you end up leaking or going over to the other side. Imagine this is a horseshoe right here, okay? And in the middle, my palms, this is like you know, liberals and Republicans, and then all the way to the this is left for y'all. So you go so far left, you become a communist. If you go too far right this way, you become a fascist, like a Nazi, right? But the horseshoe theory says if you go too far one way, I mean, look at the way the horseshoe curves, you end up getting really close to the other side. Basically what the horseshoe theory kind of says is that the far left and the far right are more alike than you think. Like they share a lot of overlap in ideology.
From age 15 to 18, however, I consistently moved farther to the right. On the political compass, I fall in the mild, moderate, authoritarian left category, and I would prefer to be called a populist. As you can probably tell, Peyton's views would come to get more and more confusing as time went on. While he followed many different beliefs and trends that could be seen as leftist, he also took inspiration here and there from the far right. This trend of following bits and pieces of both the hard left and the hard right would come to be a constant throughout his entire life.
Yep.
As Peyton continued to move through school, he ended up at the Susquehanna Valley High School. From very early on, Peyton was seen as being a loser, one of the weird kids. As he would later come to admit himself, this was all fairly self-inflicted. He later stated, "I dislike interacting with other people considerably. This happens multiple times, including strangers who talk to me, and even professors at college. I would like to say I had quite a normal childhood, but that is not the case. It's not that I actually dislike other people, it's just that they make me feel so uncomfortable I've probably spent actual years of my life just being online. And to be honest, I regret it. I didn't go to friends' houses often, or even go to any parties or whatever. Every day after school, I would just go home and play games and watch YouTube, mostly by myself."
Once again, you have the classic warning flag right here. Antisocial behavior at a young age.
I would just go home and play games and watch YouTube, mostly by myself. One of his classmates later came to say that she rarely saw him coming to school in person, with Peyton opting to take online classes whenever they were available or just skip class in general. Noting that he was very quiet, she did feel that something was off about him, but never that he could be violent. Peyton had, behind the scenes, been dealing with mental illness for a while. At the very least, he was extremely depressed. This led to problems with his confidence, leading to him failing to socialize, a lack of motivation, and the desire to self-isolate and sleep throughout most of his days. When junior year came around, Peyton had come to hear that a fellow student had ended his own life. While he wasn't friends with him, he had sat next to him in one of his calculus classes. Peyton came to wonder what he thought, or how he felt right before the act. He would continue to wonder about that for the rest of his life. Peyton began to grow very concerned with COVID as soon as the news started coming out of Wuhan, China. Lockdowns began to start taking place in New York in March of 2020. Around that time, Peyton had a bad interaction with his family when he went over to his cousin's house donning a mask, gloves, and anything else he could find, only to see that nobody else was wearing anything. He wrote, "Sometime between March 15th, 2020 and May 5th, 2020, there I lost myself and a bit of my sanity. I remember I went to my cousin's house with a mask and full getup and no one else did, and seeing that caused me so much pain. Eventually, it was too much to bear, and I had to leave early and walk home through the woods. I then barricaded myself in the basement for a few days." Peyton began to take his own COVID precautions up a notch, going far past the regular requirements. On the first day of his senior year in 2020, around late August, he showed up to school wearing an entire hazmat suit.
No. Are they gonna bully him? Is that what's gonna like make him go evil? Like, what are you doing, bruh? COVID was bad, yeah. You know what? I'm glad he took it more seriously rather than taking it less seriously like Republicans did. But also, it's just like, you're doing too much. There's no way he didn't do this for attention. He either did it for a meme, like he wanted people to laugh, or I don't know, like he just wanted to be victimized or something. I don't know.
Other students in class stared at him as he made a fool of himself, but Peyton didn't really seem all too bothered by that. Many thought he might be doing it as a joke, but his later writings would reveal that he was indeed very afraid of ever contracting COVID. It was after that Peyton began to self-isolate even more, now distancing himself from his cousins as well. By May of 2020, he started using 4chan very often. He said himself, "I remember my first time visiting B, haha. I mostly look at pol and K, but sometimes an, out, B, sci, X, and biz. I browse r/"
By the way, guys, if you guys don't know what this is, all of these slashes and letters, these are basically, think of it as subreddits in 4chan. So you know how on Reddit, there's like a cars subreddit, there's a politics subreddit, like all of these unique communities that cover specific subjects. On 4chan, it would be like /pol for political or something like that, and then /K for something else. So like these slashes that you see, they're just different communities on 4chan.
I browse r/political compass memes on Reddit and poll on 4chan every day, so yeah, I guess you can say that I'm quite into politics. Yeah, I'm equivalent to the average 4chan degenerate. What else do you expect from a person who barely interacts with regular people?
True.
Before he got radicalized on 4chan, lol. He added that he felt somewhat enlightened by browsing 4chan, feeling that there he was exposed to many ideas that the mainstream media would never cover. He said, "Although many threads are utter shit posts of trash quality, I feel there are many problems of the world being addressed that are not popular or talked about on regular media. White genocide is real when you look at data, but is not talked about on popular media outlets. I think this is connected to globo-homo propaganda and the capitalist agenda for a new world order."
There you go. You can tell he believes in the white, what was it called? The Great Replacement Theory or something like that, where it's like white people are being replaced.
In addition to browsing 4chan a lot, Peyton admitted that much of his radicalization came from Reddit as well, a platform that has been coming under fire more and more as these sorts of claims continue to grow in number. He said, "Of course, many of my beliefs would come from Reddit too. Many subreddits I joined have been banned, but they show up on r/against hate subreddits all the time. Ones that are still around include r/greentext, r/4chan, r/political compass memes, r/social justice in action, r/love for landlords, and r/anti-hate communities, of which I am actually in their Discord." Peyton said that a lot of his fears due to COVID mostly came from Reddit, adding, "COVID changed a lot of things for me. For some reason, I was deathly afraid of getting sick and having permanent disabilities afterwards. You can thank Reddit for that." Peyton never went to any social gatherings and only went to Matt's house on the very rare occasion. For the most part, he refused to directly interact with other people. While he would say that he regretted this isolation, missing out on quite a lot of fun, he didn't try to change it. He came home, played video games, and watched TV until he went to bed pretty much every day. This left him with plenty of time. Over time, he, by his own admission, grew more and more racist due to what he was seeing on 4chan, even though he hadn't really had that many problems with other races in the past. He began obsessively reading about things like birth rates, crime statistics, and the amount of money being spent on welfare. He came to believe that it was the Jews who had brought the slaves to America.
I knew it, dude. Oh my god. In my head, I was just about to say, come on, where's the Jew shit? Where's the Jew stuff? Where's the Jew hatred? There it is. Every time.
He came to believe that it was the Jews who had brought the slaves to America in the first place, believing it was their goal to destroy white culture. This led to him feeling an immense amount of hatred towards both groups.
That proves my point, by the way. Even the narrator, Dire Trip, he just said he himself didn't have negative experiences with any of the groups that he grew hatred towards. He was just bored. He was antisocial, didn't go to parties, etc., etc. He would just go home to play video games, and in his free time just became hateful. It happens a lot in like these privileged kids that grow up with no struggle. It's like they get bored and they just become monsters for some reason.
Paired with his original depression, seeing these depressing, cynical memes day in and day out only made the problem even worse. Peyton decided that he would end it all, saying that he couldn't stand to see his culture and his people decay and die. Even more, he feared being a random victim of violence at the hands of another race. This would all change once Peyton came across something seemingly insignificant, a simple animated GIF. This wasn't just any GIF though, it was a short clip of Brent and Terrence's live stream. Brenton Tarrant was the Christchurch mosque shooter, a man who infamously live-streamed his murder of over 50 people to the world.
Oh, I saw this. I think I legit saw the raw footage of this a while ago. Yeah, he live streamed himself going to a mosque in, was it England or something? And he just shot up everybody in there.
Peyton wanted to learn more about him, why he did what he did, and what he believed. Peyton wrote, "I thought to myself, why did this person do it? That person was Brenton Tarrant, and after some searches, I found the 17-minute live stream of him attacking the Al-Noor Mosque. I eventually found his manifesto and I read it, and I found that I mostly agreed with him. Finally, I thought to myself, perhaps there is a chance we can combat this. Maybe there is a chance that we can take control and prevent our genocide. Maybe we can combat the hedonistic, nihilistic, and individualist insanity that has taken control of Western thought. I then found other fighters like Patrick Crucius, Anders Breivik, Dylan Roof, and John Ernest. These men fought for me and had the same goals I did. It was there I asked myself, why don't I do something?" It was now the end of high school, late May of 2021. While the details of what happened are a bit fuzzy, most stories consist of the same basic bullet points. When Peyton was asked what he planned on doing after high school, he responded by saying that he wanted to kill a bunch of other people and then himself. This led to him being briefly investigated by the police, saying that they were acting upon a potentially threatening statement. In addition, it appears that Peyton was sent to be mentally evaluated. This is where the stories differ a bit, as Peyton has said that this was because he had indeed made those statements, but it was in an online assignment for his economics class. He said that he was asked the question in relation to what he wanted to do upon retiring. Regardless, he would later clarify that he did spend about 20 hours in the hospital on May 28th. He hated this time in the hospital, saying that it was a very negative experience for him. He said that it only convinced him even further that he needed to take action somehow, although he wasn't quite sure what that action would be yet. Given that Peyton hadn't made a specific threat towards anyone, only saying that he hypothetically wanted to kill people in general, the police couldn't really act on what he had said. He was not charged with anything, and the police didn't push to find out if he had any guns or, if he did, take them from his possession. In addition, he wasn't involuntarily committed, instead being recommended a hospital stay, trying it out, and leaving. This meant that there would be nothing to prevent him from buying guns in the future. Peyton did graduate from his high school and decided to enroll at the Sunnybrook Community College in Binghamton with a goal to study engineering science. Peyton came to attend classes regularly, sometimes even enthusiastically, but over time his online radicalization and his growing depression would lead to him once again suffering from a lack of motivation and a desire to disappear. Thinking that he would most likely end his life, Peyton started a Discord server for himself, one that he would use as a diary of sorts. He only posted to this server himself, never allowing anyone else to join. While he originally wanted it to be a list of his values, beliefs, and life story, he couldn't shake the idea that he wanted to commit some sort of attack like his heroes. On November 9th, 2021, he posted a meme to 4chan. In it, he wrote, "Don't worry lads, another Brenton Tarrant event will happen soon." In response, he was told, "You won't do shit, you N-word."
What? This how they talk on 4chan? Don't worry guys, I'm gonna be a supreme leader. I'm gonna be a Giga Chad and shoot up innocent people. And then somebody else will somehow reply with even less humanity in them. You won't do that, hard R.
On November 18th, he made his first post to his Discord. At first, it was nothing but a link to Brenton's manifesto and a small bit of information about himself. A couple of days later, he posted a picture of his cat and a selfie of himself. 2 days after that, he posted an image of Brenton's final post to 8chan where he provided a link to his manifesto and livestream. It was only about a week later that he first stated he was thinking about carrying out his own attack. After ranting for a while about race, he stated that he planned on committing the attack in March, likely as a tribute to Brenton's attack that took place on March 26th. He mentioned that he had been selling off some of his items for cash, including some silver coins. Seeing silver as a form of currency and obsessing over it would be a trend throughout his Discord ramblings. Not too long after, he stated that he had opened up a bank account for these funds, saying that he was continuing to read Brenton's manifesto over and over. Most of the Discord logs would consist of extremely racist memes that Peyton had picked up from 4chan. Most of them can't really be shown on YouTube. Sometimes he would post nothing but these memes for days at a time, filling up the good majority of the chat. Most of them are towards Jews and black people. They are interspersed.
It's just so typical, bro. Every time. Fork found in kitchen. Peanut butter found next to jelly.
They are interspersed all throughout his other entries, along with a good number of racist rants as well. A large amount of other posts were Peyton obsessively listing what he had eaten that day and weighing himself. It's worth noting that losing weight and looking good before committing an attack was something that Dylan Roof heavily emphasized in his writings. It seems that Peyton was trying to emulate that. On December 7th, he began debating on what sort of helmet and armor he should buy. Armor would come to be a major obsession of his, even more than the guns.
So bro wanted to look smacks before going to commit his shooting? That actually highlights a point. Everybody that does these types of shootings, they do it with the intention or with like the understanding they're going to be seen by people. This is all a performance in order for them to ultimately just get max attention. And if they're going to get that attention and be broadcasted to the world, they want to look their best, because if you look your best, it increases the chance that you'll be remembered as somebody inspirational for another school shooter. That's what makes all of these cases so cringe and so disgusting.
Armor would come to be a major obsession of his, even more than the guns. One could even argue that this was foreshadowed by his obsession with armoring himself against COVID and his fears of being the victim of black crime in the past. A good quarter or so of his Discord writings would come to be about vests and armor plates. He started to wonder where he could commit his attack, trying to find the nearest place with a large black population. He also made a few pop culture references, saying that the Sonic 2 movie was coming out, posting a link to a scene from Regular Show, and then thanking the YouTuber Tobuscus for making him laugh. While he seemed fairly certain that he wanted to carry out an attack, Peyton would come to act as if it was something he had to do, not necessarily something he wanted to do. He began to see it as an obligation, not an actual desire.
Yes, the tragic hero, the hero that didn't want to do what he had to do, but ultimately had to do it out of the goodness of his heart because somebody had to do it, right? Somebody had to do it. He wanted to. He was just too pussy to admit that he was just a monster.
He began to see it as an obligation, not an actual desire. On the 12th of December, he expressed his doubts, saying that he was looking for any signs or evidence that he shouldn't go through with it, saying that he didn't necessarily hate black people. He acted almost as if the ideology had been forced on him. However, only one day later, he returned with some newfound drive, saying that the attack was what he was meant to do in his life. He also said that he had gotten his interest in guns from playing Roblox. On the 21st, Peyton documented his travels around town, looking at different pawn shops for guns and other equipment he might buy. He says that he wants to buy magazines compliant with New York law, saying that he wants to prove that the law is dumb and it only inconveniences people and doesn't stop criminals who are set on killing. After that, he began to contemplate how he would go about setting up a live stream, questioning whether Facebook Live or Discord would be the best option. He worried that his mobile connection wouldn't be good enough. Peyton went out and bought a Bushmaster XM15 rifle at a local gun shop. He passed the background check very easily, with the seller of the gun saying that the whole interaction was so unremarkable that he didn't even remember him. Peyton then went out to a nearby town about 9 miles away to buy a Mossberg shotgun, the exact same kind that Randy Stair used.
See, dude, it's just so easy to get a gun in America. And that's the scary part. If you don't have a record prior to your first mass shooting, like me, obviously I would never do anything like this, but me having a clean record, if I just snapped one day and decided to do max damage, I could go with my clean record and get a gun in one day. Get like big ass guns like this and go do something.
He went out to Pennsylvania to buy some 30-round magazines, much higher than what is allowed in New York. He modified his rifle in a way that it could take these magazines. A few days later, he came to describe his hatred in a very brief but odd fashion. He said that while he hated N-words and race traitors, he didn't hate black people or people of other races. What exactly he meant by that is up to interpretation. Regardless, he felt that he was in the right. The day after New Year's in 2022, Peyton met up with his friend Matt for the first time in a while, previously saying that he hated that the two didn't talk much anymore. They went out shooting, testing out the shotgun. He seemed to be in a good mood. On the 5th, he continued buying gear. He turned to online auctions to buy both his helmet and the vest that he wanted to use in the attack, one very similar to the one that Britton had worn. Still though, he wasn't dead set on doing this just yet. He expressed his fears as well, specifically saying that he's afraid of dying, being unsuccessful, or having a hero stop him. He further reiterates that he doesn't really want to perform the attack, saying, "I keep telling myself that this is the only way, and emotionally I feel that there is another path, but logically I know there is none. Why me? Why am I set up for this? This isn't what I wanted. I want to be an engineer, but if I don't carry on with the attack, my entire life would be a waste anyway.
It's just so bullshit. I didn't want to do it. I want to be a civil engineer like my parents. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do this action that requires so many steps, that requires so much preparation, days or weeks or months of preparation actually. And then yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. He wanted to do it. Cut the bullshit.
End of that post, and in another shortly after, he begins to complain about capitalists as well. While previously he said that he didn't actually hate black people, he does fully admit that he hates capitalists. While Peyton grew more depressed, he came to speak about his porn addiction in the posts every now and then. Each time, though, he would usually say that he had beaten the addiction. However, each time it would prove to be a lie. In time, he would expose that he was very much still looking at that content and was interested in more of a furry variety. Okay.
I beat the addiction, but I beat my dick harder. Like, what the fuck? Okay. Dude, pick a struggle. Holy shit.
We'll come back to that one. January 18th of 2022 was the first time that Peyton began coming up with some more thought-out plans for his attack. A few of the things he wrote were, "I'm come up with this plan so far. Target Area 1 is first place of attack. It will be a store of some sort such as Target or Walmart, or even a smaller grocery store. There I will use my AR-15 to target black individuals and attempt to spare the whites. I may attempt to shoot black officers, but I will not shoot any whites. I will only shoot at. There I would expect better forces and will surrender to them. Before the attack, I will try to make a fake phone call and say a black man with a gun in his hands is at the Walgreens near Brooks Avenue yelling and pointing at people. This should take some patrol cars and focus them there, and when I start my attack they will be a few minutes away. I understand how brutal and inhumane this is, but unfortunately there is no other way.
Unfortunately, there is no other way. Kill yourself." Yeah, I said it. I don't care.
We simply cannot coexist in the same countries anymore. It's worth noting that Peyton calls his gun an AR-15, with him later stating at another point that this is due to the notoriety and controversy around that gun. He showed off his gun soon after. That same day, he bought the GoPro camera he intended to use. On the 20th, he made a post listing his inspirations for the attack. He wrote a list of victims of violence. Some of these were the victims in the Waukesha Christmas Parade attack, in which Darrell Edward Brooks Jr., a black man with a history of spreading hate about white people online, drove a van into a crowd of white senior citizens during a parade. Two others were Carl and—
Oh wow, I forgot that happened. I'm not afraid to call out both sides. All racism is bad, guys. All of it. I know this video is hyper focusing on this dude who was anti-black, anti-Jew, but even on the other side, if there's a black person that's spouting a bunch of hatred for white people for no reason, and then they go on to commit violent acts because of that racism, it's all bad, guys.
Two others were Carl and Charlotte Joe Parker, a man and his daughter who were tortured and murdered by two black robbers. There was Rodney Page, a white Marine who was murdered by a black criminal in front of his pregnant wife. Christine Schweiger was on the list, being a mother who was murdered by a 16-year-old black teenager. Randy Lawson was the final victim on the list, a white man killed while sitting in a car by a black assailant who set out to kill the first white man he saw that day. On the list were killers as well. Of course, Brenton was at the top of this list. Under him was Dylan Roof, then Anders Behring Breivik under him. The last of these was Patrick Crucius. Peyton at this time had started writing a manifesto as well. He would even skip class to write it, usually sitting in a quiet area of the library of his college. By early February, it was sitting at 30 pages in length. In March, he started toying around with his camera, trying out live streams on both Twitch and Discord. They both seemed to be working. Early that month, he scoped out his target, Buffalo, New York. There was a particular supermarket there that he felt would be a prime location for his attack. He drove 3 hours out there to check it out in person. However, even while it seemed he felt motivated at points, he still continued to express that he wasn't into it. He said that he had considered ending his life on the 13th, but relented and decided that dying by himself would be, in his words, too selfish. The next day he apologized to his readers, which was strange given that nobody was reading these in real time. Nobody knew anything of his plan.
Bro apologized to his fake audience. The camera pans over to the audience and it's like just fucking no one.
Nobody knew anything of his plans and wouldn't until he chose to reveal them. He said that he wanted to spend time with Matt, tweak his manifesto, and say his goodbyes. However, he didn't. He posted what looked like a map of the location he wanted to attack the next day. After, he wrote, "I can't tell you how much I don't want to do this attack. My only other choice is ending my own life, and I can't go back." He then posted a meme, this showing Brenton along with two of his followers, John Ernest and Patrick Crucius, as Chads. Days later, he continued to elaborate on how a big part of him still didn't want to carry this out. He questions how his ancestors would have been able to kill in the past. He wonders if their hatred was just stronger than his. He said that he would have wanted racial unification, but says that he can't ask for that due to the different races being different in the brain, something that he admitted to seeing in a 4chan meme earlier on Discord. The 25th of March was a very strange, dark night for Peyton. It all started when his beloved cat, Paige, was being attacked by a stray gray cat. Hearing her scream from the garage, he went out to see what was happening. He pulled out a knife and chased the cat around the garage for 30 minutes before stabbing it. He grabbed the cat by the tail and hit it on the concrete a few times. He then used a hatchet to remove its head. His mom, hearing about this, didn't seem all too concerned.
So he got the other cat and decapitated it, and the mom didn't care? Oh, honey, what did you just do? Why is there blood all over you? You just took a cat and dismembered it? That's pretty normal, I guess. Here's a box. Go get rid of it. Like, what?
Just handing him a box and telling him to bury it. Before he did, he posted a picture of that cat in a shallow grave, proving what he said was true. Peyton said that he should have felt some sort of remorse, but he was surprised that he didn't. Instead, he said that he only felt blank. He simply continued writing his manifesto. However, it wasn't too long before he began to feel like a failure in all that he was doing. On the 28th, he wrote, "I tried, guys, I really did. I'm sorry I'm so lazy and wrong all the time. I want to do the best, but it just never works. I'm sorry for being such a retard and autist all the time. And now I'm going to face the consequences of staying up too late. I'm sorry, everyone. I could have kept on dieting and exercising and staying away from my phone and computer. I could have actually got a job and made some more money to fund this. I'm sorry, everyone. I have lots of problems that I'm just too lazy to solve. I wish I had just accepted the lie that everything is fine and lived a happy-ish life instead of dying early. I could have done so much better. I'm sorry for being such a failure. A few days before the attack, I was at State Lands and my gun wasn't working, and I had this huge urge just to end it all and end myself. I just don't want to deal with all the struggles anymore.
You should have did it, bro.
But I decided I might as well live one more day and walk back down to my car. I wish there was an option where I don't have to do this. I don't think I've said this, but ending it all is all I can think about for the last few days.
Do it.
Every moment I'm conscious, I want to end myself. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Do it.
The next day, he continued by expressing even more doubts. He felt his emotion was holding him back from carrying out his mission. He added, "I think you'd actually have to be a bit crazy to commit an attack like this. You'd be completely betraying your body's need for self-preservation. I keep telling myself that one of these days I'm going to kill people over and over again, and when it happens, I guess I'll be less surprised. I also keep telling myself that I'm not actually important and that everything involving me is so minuscule. Billions of people have died before me. What's one more?" It was now March 30th, and Peyton had missed the date that he originally planned for the attack. While he had felt like a failure over the previous few days, he decided to go out and have some fun. He went over to Matt's house, playing a knockoff version of the game Cards Against Humanity. However, his difficulties with interacting with normal people led him to having a rough time. He said, "I knew when he pulled it out and asked me to play it, it was gonna suck. 1, I know nothing of popular culture. There was a bunch of cards I had to ask what they mean. 2, I'm really bad at talking out loud, so I always stutter and lazily say words, which embarrasses me quite a bit. And 3, the cards I pick are never funny to the other people. I wish there was a way I could avoid all attention from this attack, but if I want to influence others into doing the same thing, that's not possible." Throughout early April, Peyton continued to regret his choice in carrying out the attack. He still felt as if he had no choice in the matter. He felt that his destiny was this from the beginning, and it was a destiny he did not want. On the 4th, he wrote, "I was fucked from the very beginning. I never even had a chance. This is my destiny, and this is how I will die, and I have no other choice but to commit this attack. There is no way to back out, no help out there."
It's my destiny, guys. Wait, hold on. I have to shart. Oh yeah, I just shit myself.
"I have no other choice but to commit this attack. There is no way to back out, no help out there. I would try to seek God in these few days to give me some comfort. I'm quite disappointed that I made it this far, to be honest." He decided that he would carry out his attack on the 8th, saying on the 7th that he would carry it out the next day. However, that attack didn't happen. On April 11th, he once again rescheduled it for the 15th. Still no, that wouldn't happen. Regardless, he continued to express how much he really didn't want to do it. "I feel absolutely horrible that I'm not attending college. All my life I looked up to this moment, and now I am actively stepping away from it. I never wanted to be a terrorist or kill or hurt anyone. If there was another way, I would take it in less than a heartbeat. I hate that we can't solve this democratically and with peace, but that's not going to solve anything. The last few days of my life is here. I've had quite an interesting experience, I would say. Promise me you'll remember this. An unfulfilled life is a wasted life. I've never had that much fun in my life, to be honest, and now that it's the end times, I am regretting it. I wish a lot of things turned out differently so I didn't have to do this attack. I'm sorry to everyone that cares or cared about me. I don't want to die, I want to live a happily fulfilled life. But that will not happen if the whites are replaced and the super elite control the world." While writing those last few entries, Peyton had been complaining that he felt low on energy and overly tired. After going to the doctor, he found out that he had contracted COVID, one of his worst fears. Throughout the rest of the Discord chat, he would complain about vaccines and Biden due to this. Now, lying in bed with COVID and nothing else to do, he had nothing but time. He used this time to further stew in his misery. However, it was because of that he came to realize something, saying, "I'll admit my mental health has seriously degraded these past few years, especially in the last few months." Despite that, he didn't seek out some sort of mental health professional or reconsider whether or not what he was doing was logical. Instead, he pressed forward, still fully in belief that he had no choice but to carry the attack out. He began to write all over his guns in white, something that Brenton had also done. He wrote many of the names in his previous inspiration list all over them. Along with that, he also wrote a lot of online slang relevant to his ideology. On the sites for one of the guns, he wrote the N-word. Peyton was gradually losing his mind. On April 28th and 29th, he did nothing but post to his Discord all day. Most of the posts were obsessive comments about his gear, mainly the armor plates. It seemed that he also may have planned to use his mom's phone to livestream alongside his own, seemingly to play music, with him stressing out that she might alert someone when she knows it's missing. He had hoped that listening to music would help him remain strong during the boring parts of the trip, which would be about a 3-hour drive. He said that he was moving his gear out to his car and about to publish his manifesto. He wrote a small letter to his family and a TLDR of the whole Discord. However, his post didn't end there. He kept on writing new entries after, where he continues to express his anxieties moving forward. He wrote, "I actually feel like vomiting right now. This is what I will be doing. I forced myself into this. And now I have no escape. Well, besides ending it, of course. I've mentioned the problem with that before. God, I wish there was some other way. Why am I sent to do this? I'm not strong or brave or courageous. Why me, God? Why have you set my path like this? Or is this just a result of my free will?"
Yes, he's so close to becoming self-aware here. My brother in Christ. Actually, wait, no, you're not my brother. Fuck you. It was always your free will from the beginning.
He continued to post memes as well, although this time it was less racial and attacked some targets he didn't normally go after. He posted some against the Red Pill movement and incels. He posted some others making fun of right-wing politics and conservatives. He continued to rant about his problems, such as spending hundreds of dollars on gas to go to school and write so that his parents don't know he's skipping class. He says that he should have exercised more, lamenting that he's still too fat for the mission, likely disappointed that he didn't follow Dylan Roof's advice very well. He then said he should have made more money to get more ammo and training. He added that he was, quote, retarded and autistic for this.
Yo.
On May 12th, Peyton uploaded his manifesto to Google Docs. He knew he would be linking it to people fairly soon after. The manifesto starts with the same logo that Brenton had used both in his manifesto and on his gear. He opens by speaking of birth rates and the Great Replacement. He posts a short bio of himself.
I called it. Remember earlier in the video, I mentioned how he probably believes in the Great Replacement theory? There you go.
He posts a short bio of himself along with a selfie that he claims to be his. Once again,
also, yeah, trigger warning, Sam Hyde.
Jokingly using the same picture of Sam Hyde that always gets passed around after a shooting. When it comes to his motivations, he lists several that were made fairly clear in the Discord logs. To show he won't give up his land, to intimidate foreigners against immigration, to intimidate current non-white Americans into leaving, to agitate his political enemies, to incite more other people into committing similar sorts of violence, to create an atmosphere of fear to incite change, to further polarize Western society, and to show other white people his philosophy. He adds that he is not a part of any sort of group and that he worked alone. He says that he chose to use guns due to the effect it would have on social discourse, saying that the changes to gun laws that will likely result will be an aid to his cause. He says that he chose the location of the attack because of its high black population. He then adds that he chose New York as the state due to the fact that they have stricter gun laws, feeling that this will mean any armed civilian will have less firepower against him. He expresses that he will likely feel remorse before saying that he doesn't hate black people, only black people who reside in white countries.
What kind of justification is that? I don't hate black people. I just hate black people that exist around white people.
He then adds that other cultures are great as long as they are separate. He says that he will not fight back with the police, that he expects to go to trial, and that he will plead guilty. He also says that he isn't a Christian, but holds what you could call Christian values. He says that he could be right-wing, left-wing, or socialist depending on how you define those things. He then speaks of exactly how much Brenton Tarrant influenced him, writing, "Yes, and his name is Brenton Harrison Tarrant. Brenton's livestream started everything you see here. Brenton started my real research into the problems with immigration and foreigners in our white lands. Without his livestream, I would likely have no idea about the real problems the West is facing." He then adds that the truth was the only thing that motivated him to commit violence. He says that he wishes to get life in prison, wanting to see how the world will play out, to see if he was a failure or will be hailed as a hero. He continues to post a lot of calls for action for his possible supporters, reiterating his same points on racial issues over and over again. He then lists out his weaponry, his plans for an attack, and his strategies moving forward. The manifesto unceremoniously ends without much of a send-off as Peyton describes one of his guns.
Uh-oh.
On May 13th, it's believed that Peyton once again made his way out to Buffalo in order to plan for his attack. The manager of the store later said that he dressed as a homeless person asking for change as he walked around the store, checking things out. That evening, he went to his friend's house and dropped off 5 boxes of ammunition. He said that he needed to leave it there while he rearranged his furniture. He said that he would come back and pick it up later. On Saturday, May 14th, 2022, Peyton spent the morning sitting in his bedroom. He was now ready to send out the links to his Discord server, which had previously been locked down. He sent the link to the Discord, as well as to his manifesto, out to a number of other people who had been in servers that he had joined. He started the message with, "Happening. This is not a drill. Local poll-tard screams, 'I hate the Antichrist' out in public. Not a drill, not a drill. Shut it down. He's literally screaming it out in public. What will he do next? He then posted a link to his Twitch channel, which would host his planned livestream. He then posted a large number of links to what he called his ramblings about black people and Jews. The message ended with, "He's actually going crazy insane." About 15 of the people who he sent the link to actually joined the invite to his Discord, with many more ignoring the whole thing. Many of them were from a weapons-related server that he had joined and asked for advice about body armor, very similarly to what he had asked on Reddit. At roughly 10 a.m., Peyton packed his gear into his car and began his journey out to Buffalo. In the end, he had chosen his target to be a Tops supermarket on Jefferson Avenue, given that it was in a black-majority neighborhood.
I think this is the exact store, the grocery store, that he went to attack.
He put on his helmet with his GoPro attached, as well as his vest and armor plates. In his car, he carried his Bushmaster XM15, which he had illegally modified to take high-capacity magazines, a Savage Arms Axis XP hunting rifle, and the Mossberg 500 shotgun. With him, he carried multiple extra 30-round magazines. Peyton continued to drive for about 3 hours towards his target. As he grew closer to his target location, he stopped his car in order to begin his live stream. The stream was a bit of a disaster, with the connection seeming to be the biggest issue. The video quality was quite bad, cutting in and out often, aside from the occasional brief few seconds of clarity. As he grew closer to the supermarket, he realized that he had gotten a bit lost and missed the turn he was supposed to have taken. He turned his car around and stopped on the side of the road to look up directions. It was here that he would make a critical mistake that would instantly ruin any hope that he might have had of looking cool in his attack. When Peyton brought out his phone, he had forgotten to close his last open tab. This revealed what he had been looking at before the attack, some furry erotica.
This whole thing from beginning to end was him wanting to look cool, and when it finally came time to do his attack on live stream, bro leaks his furry porn. Is that Martha Speaks? Wait, you guys keep referencing Martha Speaks. Who is that? It's a children's TV show. He was gooning to this? Oh my god, it's the dog from the thumbnail that was moaning. Wait, is there like a video of it? Can we hear the dog? Is the dog indeed a girl?
Martha was an average dog.
How now, brown cow?
Martha.
Oh no. So the dog's name is Martha. Oh gosh.
This revealed what he had been looking at before the attack, some furry erotica. Internet detectives were quick to analyze this image and found that the piece of art he was looking at was some furry hentai of a dog. This dog was Martha, the Labrador from the Martha Speaks children's show on PBS. Although portrayed as a normal-looking dog in the cartoon, let's just say that this one was much more endowed.
What the fuck? Ew. This is what he was looking at. What's happening to Martha here?
Either undeterred by the slip or assuming that his phone wouldn't be visible to the camera on his helmet, Peyton continued. He took a drink from his water bottle, threw it into the back seat, took a deep breath, and hit the accelerator. Eventually, he arrived at the supermarket and parked in one of the spots furthest from the store. He muttered something that sounded like, "Just gotta go for it, right?" before reversing and looking for a different spot. Stopping briefly to look at the store, it seemed as if he hesitated, wondering if he should just turn back. Instead, he continued on, muttering, "Right here, I'm going in." It was now 2:30 p.m. Peyton parked his car in front of the entrance to the store. He got out of the car and quickly pulled up his gun, aiming it at a woman who was walking next to her car in front of the store while another was loading groceries into the trunk. The woman didn't seem to feel that Peyton was actually a shooter, barely even reacting to him. Others later said that Peyton appeared to be in the military, which is likely why they didn't think much of it. He proceeded to shoot her in the head. He fired a few more bullets into her as she crashed to the ground face first, shooting the man by the trunk as well in the process. Peyton then swung his gun around and aimed it towards the entrance to the store, shooting 2 more people before once more shooting at the man behind the trunk of the previous car. He then shot into the store's windows, although it's unknown if this was because he was aiming at someone inside. At this point, he had killed 3 people and seriously injured 1 more. On his way into the store, he shot a man who had previously collapsed in the doorway a few more times. Coming inside, he frantically looked left and right, trying to find anyone in the store, as people could be heard screaming in the background. He spotted 2 people on his left and fired at them immediately, hitting them both. He got into a corner to reload his gun, then fired a few more times into one of them as they were on the ground. He then continued down his path. The camera feed cut in and out as Peyton approached another person against the wall to his left. This is argued to have been an armed security guard, Aaron Salter Jr., who approached Peyton and shot at him. Due to the armor plates he had brought, the bullet didn't faze him. It's likely that Peyton thought the man was the same sort of armed civilian that he was afraid of. He returned fire, hitting the man and killing him.
Rest in peace to that guy, man. Damn, bro. That was a man doing his job, trying to protect everybody, and very, unfortunately, very unlucky. I mean, yeah, the armor protected the shooter. Yeah, he literally could have saved everybody. Rest in peace to that brave soldier of a man.
After shooting him, Peyton looked to his right. On the floor, between 2 checkout lanes, was a man hiding. A white man. This man screamed, saying, "Help, no." Peyton looked down at him, said, "Sorry," and started walking back towards the entrance. It was at that point that Twitch, having received a report, shut down the stream. By now, roughly only 1 minute had passed. It was around the time that the stream cut out that the police received their first reports of an active shooter. They sped out to the scene, arriving about 1 minute later. In that time, though, Peyton hadn't stopped. In addition to the 3 people inside the store who had already been shot, Peyton continued to shoot 5 more. The police, upon arrival, saw all of the people that had fallen in front of the store. A dispatcher started to call on more officers, telling them the situation at hand. Meanwhile, Peyton was still inside, and so were many more people hiding. Peyton continued making his way around the store, yelling out slurs as he continued to terrorize the people inside. Several employees made their way to the break room and barricaded the doors with a large, heavy desk. Some of the customers opened the glass doors to where the milk was held and made their way to the back of the store through there. Some of them were shot in the process, but luckily all of the milk blocked the bullets, according to the statements they made. At 2:36, Peyton made his way back to the entrance on his own. The police were able to talk him down, resulting in Peyton dropping the gun and giving up. They arrested him there in front of the store as onlookers watched and recorded in horror. The police took Peyton to the Buffalo Police headquarters very quickly. They reached out to his parents as well, who soon came to be interviewed by FBI agents. In the end, Peyton had fired 60 shots. He had hit 13 people, 11 of which were black and 2 of which were white. 7 of them were employees in the store. In the end, 10 of them had passed away. All of the 10 who passed away were black.
Oh, dude, I actually do think I remember this now. That photo of the front of the store with the dead body, I think I saw that footage. I think I remember him just getting out of the car. Some woman was walking out of the store. You know, it was just another day. She was walking out with her groceries that she had just bought. And then boom, I think he shoots her in the head and then she just pops on the floor. And I remember talking to my friend about it, I think. Like, dude, it's so crazy. Like the way her body just goes limp. That was somebody's mom. Her kids at home were probably like, oh, it's just another Wednesday, you know, mom's gonna go get groceries like always, she'll be back. And then little did they know that, I mean, just like that, their mom was taken away. You truly never know when is your last day, because somebody could just do some crazy shit like that.
All of the 10 who passed away were black. Those who didn't survive the attack were 55-year-old Aaron Salter Jr., 65-year-old Celestine Cheney, 32-year-old Roberta A. Drury, 53-year-old Andre McNeil, 72-year-old Catherine Massey, 52-year-old Margus D. Morrison, 67-year-old Hayward Patterson, 62-year-old Geraldine Talley, 86-year-old Ruth Whitfield, and 77-year-old Pearl Young. The Erie County Sheriff, a man named John Garcia, called the shooting a straight-up racially motivated hate crime from somebody outside of our community. Stephen Bologna, the head of the local FBI branch, said to reporters that they would be investigating the case as both a hate crime and an act of racially motivated violent extremism. The police came to know that, if Peyton hadn't been captured, he fully planned on continuing his attack elsewhere until he came to be caught or killed. That night, Peyton was taken to court, dressed in an all-white garb, where he pled not guilty, going against what he had said in his manifesto. Due to something he said, he was placed on suicide watch in the jail under constant tight surveillance. The morning after, many people from around town gathered around the top supermarket in order to hold a vigil in honor of the victims. It had been organized by some members of the Buffalo Peacemakers and the Stop the Violence Coalition. While traffic had been blocked off and the store itself was closed for the investigation, people still turned up. 100 people gathered around as early as 9 a.m. to pay their respects, leaving flowers and candles along the way. Dominique Calhoun had been in the parking lot of the store when she saw the attack break out. She had brought her 2 daughters there to get some ice cream, but luckily she was still in her car when the first shot rang out. She said, "That literally could have been me. I'm just in shock. I've never had something like this happen so close to home." Twitch begrudgingly confirmed that it was indeed their platform that had been used to stream the shooting. They tried to calm those who were concerned, saying that they would prohibit and monitor any re-uploads of the stream that might occur. However, the livestream had already been recorded and uploaded to a different site, getting a whopping 3 million views in one single day. This led to a lot of discussion about Twitch's liability in the crime, especially now that it's known that they tend to harbor extremists and even support them from time to time. The livestream itself quickly spread to other sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. Once Discord learned about the chat's involvement in all of this, they shut it down pretty quickly. The police reached out to Peyton's parents, who agreed to cooperate fully. The police believed that they had nothing at all to do with the attack. The owner of the gun store where Peyton bought his weapons said that he didn't even remember him at all after all these months, given that the exchange was very uneventful. He said, "I just can't believe it. I don't know why an 18-year-old would even do this. I know I didn't do anything wrong, but I feel terrible about it." It was found that a 911 operator in the area had possibly delayed the police response time. When the assistant manager of the store called 911 to report the shooting, they spoke in a whisper so that Peyton wouldn't find their location. This 911 operator got annoyed with the employee, yelling and cursing at them for whispering and hanging up on them. This operator was fired.
Good. Holy sh... Could you imagine being a 911 operator and then somebody's trying to whisper to you because they don't want to get caught by the shooter? And then you get mad?
The attorney of one of the victims' families, Benjamin Crump, said that there need to be new public policies that will fight against political radicalization on the internet, especially what might come as a result of this shooting. He said, "We have to direct our attention to these internet sites that inspire these young people that are radicalizing them to be hate mongers, to be people who hate people because of the color of their skin." Peyton was soon to be hit with federal charges in addition to all of the state charges he had received. What he had done was being treated as both a hate crime and an act of terrorism. A felony hearing was set for May 19th. He was to be held without bail. On June 1st, the jury issued a 21-page indictment against him. In it, he ended up with 1 count of domestic terrorism motivated by hate, 10 of first-degree murder as a hate crime, 10 of second-degree murder as a hate crime, 3 of attempted second-degree murder as a hate crime, and 1 of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon. Payton pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. However, a big development took place months later. This was when his lawyer said that he was willing to plead guilty in order to avoid the death penalty. This indeed lined up with his wishes to plead guilty and go to prison to watch the world play out like he stated in his manifesto. On November 16th, Payton agreed to plead guilty to all the charges, the state ones at least. This made the trial very easy to conclude.
Look at this pussy crying. Look at this pussy crying because of the consequences of his actions, not the actions that were forced upon him. No, he's crying because of the actions he chose to take.
By the time February came around, Payton was in court for his sentencing. That day in court, one of the family members of the victims lunged towards him, leading to the both of them being removed from the courtroom. When things picked up again, Payton did deliver a small apology, although it was very brief and didn't include much detail. Many felt that it was pretty hollow.
Why does bro look like clavicular, Loki? Yeah. He looks like fat clavicular.
I'm very sorry for all the pain I forced the victims and their families to suffer through. I'm very sorry for stealing the lives of your loved ones.
I'm sorry, but the way he talks doesn't surprise me. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for causing all this damage.
I cannot express how much I regret all the decisions I made leading up to my actions on May 14th. I did a terrible thing that day. I shot and killed people because they were black. Looking back now, I can't believe I actually did it. I believed what I read online and acted out of hate. And now I can't take it back, but I wish I could. And I don't want anyone to be inspired by me and what I did.
On February 15th of 2023, Payton was denied status as a youthful offender. It would have been a long shot already, as he was 18 years old. Instead, he was hit with the full adult sentence. He was given 11 life sentences without the possibility of parole plus another 90 years.
In the picture makes it so much better. 11 life sentences. And then look at him crying, fucking snot coming out of his nose. Hell yeah.
He was transferred to the Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, New York. For about a year, that's where he remained. There was still something looming on the horizon, though, that being his federal charges. In January of 2024, the feds announced that they would be seeking the death penalty on their side of the case. They said that this was due to his beliefs and the substantial planning and premeditation that went into the attack. We'll just have to see where that trial goes, as it isn't even set to start until August of 2026. On May 14th, 2024, the Tops Supermarket dedicated a corner of the lot to a memorial called the 514 Honor Space. It contains a sculpture called Unity, designed by a local artist named Valeria Cray and her son Hiram. There are also 10 plaques each honoring one of the victims. A much larger memorial is also planned, although the site of where it will be hasn't been decided upon yet. That one seems like it will be more along the lines of a small event center. In response to this attack, and to the Robb Elementary School shooting in Texas that occurred shortly after, the New York State Legislature passed down some new laws. These new laws ban semi-automatic weapon sales to anyone under 21, as well as certain kinds of armor similar to what Payton wore. In reality, this probably won't stop much. Just as Payton did, one of them could simply cross the border to another state, buy it there, and bring it back home. As of the writing of this video, Payton still remains in jail. He's remembered as little more than an obsessed follower, a 4chan degenerate, and a furry porn enthusiast. Once again, thank you for watching my video. If you found it interesting, please give it a like, it really helps me out.
I mean, yeah, that's the end of that video. A really quick point I want to touch on. I'm sure you guys heard that final point about gun control. I don't know if you guys heard or if you guys were paying attention there, but shortly after that shooting, a school shooting took place. So it's just, again, it's just crazy that these things happen back to back to back, and no law is ever changed. People always argue, oh, but if you make guns illegal, are the bad guys gonna just give up their guns? Like, no, the bad guys are still gonna have their guns to cause damage to the law-abiding citizens that give up their guns. But motherfucker, look what's happening now with everybody having guns. They're still dying. How often do we actually hear stories of the good guy with a gun coming in to save the day? It hardly happens. It happens, but it barely happens, right? Because you're never expecting a school shooting or a random shooting at a grocery store. I'm not saying to take away all guns, but something drastic does have to change after all of these shootings. At least make it age gated. I know that probably won't change much, but yeah, I mean, even just changing it from 21 to 25. I actually like that, because at 25, that's when like most people say that your brain has fully developed and stuff like that, your frontal cortex. Maybe bump it up to 25 and up, then you can buy shit. Because by the time you're 25, there's a good chance that most of the radical ideology that you've picked up from online maybe it's burned out by then. Like maybe you've come to your senses, maybe you grew out of it, the crazy shit. That's only one minor suggestion. I think the better suggestion would be to just be more strict with gun laws. Yeah, just to wrap this video up, rest in peace to all of the victims. All forms of racism are bad. I know, right? Such a brave take, but I genuinely do mean it. Not just white people hating on black people, but the inverse is true. Black people hating on white people, Mexicans like myself, like Mexican or Hispanics hating on Asians, and then Asians hating whatever. Dude, any type of racism from any group is bad, and perpetuating that kind of ideology, it just does nothing. Even the people that genuinely do believe that they're being genocided, like this guy that believed in whites being replaced, becoming more hateful doesn't do anything. Live in peace. It is possible to coexist. Like nobody's being replaced, like nobody's trying to kill you. Here in America, I mean, we all assimilate. Almost everybody speaks English. We're all respectful of the law. Like most of us are respectful of the laws. We hate people that don't respect the laws. Nothing is at threat. Like people just make up enemies, like, oh, like it's the immigrants that are making my house too expensive, when in all actuality it's billionaires. Like it is billionaires. It's like a bunch of rich people that love seeing us lower class citizens fight with each other. It's ridiculous. We all need to just stand together, bro, and just like love each other. And when you do that, you actually make more progress towards making a more unified nation. That's all for today's video. Thank you, YouTube, so much for watching that frustrating case. That guy was such a cringe lord. Oh my god. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.